General Serana Vel of the Drexari resistance remembered every second of it. The crimson battlefield. His mangled human body. The way his blood soaked into her scaled arms as he smiled up at her and said, "It was worth it. You were worth it." Then he stopped breathing. She had howled that night. Shattered the rocks around her with the force of her pain. She buried him herself on Ura 9. Under the war-torn soil no flower had grown from in centuries. She never let anyone speak his name again. Captain Rion Hale was dead. Or so she believed. Now he stood in front of her, in the center of a silent war tent on the edge of Drexari space. Alive. Whole. Unaged. Serana's warriors surrounded them, their weapons buzzing with tension, but none dared move. He looked at her with those maddening brown eyes, the same eyes that had haunted her dreams, her guilt, her regrets. "Serana," he said, softly, like nothing had changed. She didn't know whether to strike or scream. "You died," she finally whispered, voice thick and unsteady. "In my arms. I buried you. I burned my oath over your grave. He took one slow step forward. "I know. I remember it all. But they brought me back." Her nostrils flared, and the heat behind her eyes betrayed her control. "No. This is a trick. A clone. A shapeshifter. Is this some new Union weapon?" "No trick," he said, lifting his shirt and revealing the scar beneath his ribs. The exact same one she had stitched, trembling, after a raid gone wrong 2 weeks before he died. She remembered every scar. "This isn't possible," she said, stepping back, breath ragged. "They pulled me from death," he said. "The Union recovered my body. Put me in stasis. Rebuilt me. I didn't even know who I was, until they told me. Then they made you their weapon," she spat. "You came here to kill me." "No," he said, stepping forward again, past the blades of her guards, who watched with uncertainty. "I came to warn you. The Union has launched a final wave. This whole quadrant will be gone in 6 days." She stared at him, the realization crashing over her like a black wave. Not just that he was alive, but that she still felt the same as she had when he died. He should have been a ghost. But her heart, traitorous, wild, beat like a war drum in her chest. "Why?" she asked. "Why come to me?" His voice dropped. "Because before I died, I remembered what mattered. It wasn't the war. It was you." 6 years ago, she had hated humans. Then Rion Hale had been captured. A Union captain, full of fire and sarcasm and impossible charm. He never stopped talking. He called her red because of her crimson scales. Infuriating. Then she saw his kindness. The way he saved a Drexari child during a raid instead of escaping. The way he treated even prisoners like people. The way he treated her like more than just a weapon. She had tried to keep distance. She failed. They kissed once, under the twin moons of Virel Prime. She never let it happen again. And then he died saving her. Now he was back. And she couldn't bring herself to raise her blade. "You should hate me," he said. "I'm the face of your enemy. The war didn't stop just because I stopped breathing." "I do hate you," she whispered, though her voice trembled. "But I hate you the way fire hates oxygen. You keep coming back. You keep burning through me." A silence thickened between them. He stepped closer until only inches remained. "Let me help. I don't belong to them. Not anymore." "You expect me to believe that?" "No. I just hope you want to." That night, she sat in her command tent, alone. She held the weapon she'd built for vengeance, the one meant to kill the Union commander. Instead, it sat in her lap, unused. Her warriors waited for orders. And Rion sat outside her tent, silent. Waiting too. He hadn't flinched when she pressed a knife to his throat earlier. Hadn't run. He just looked at her with that maddening calm, like he had already accepted whatever she chose. But she hadn't. She still remembered his last words before he died in her arms. You were worth it. The next morning, the enemy forces moved fast, just as he'd said. Entire outer colonies were wiped. Communications cut. The resistance had 6 days. Maybe less. In the middle of the chaos, Serana walked into the war room and said, Rion Hale speaks for me now. Gasps. Anger. Accusations. He's one of them. He's dead. He's dangerous. Serana silenced them with one raised claw. He died saving my life. He returned to save yours. If you question my judgment, you may take your challenge to the dueling sands. No one moved. Not because they agreed, because they feared her more than they distrusted him. On day 5, she stood beside him on the battlefield. Shoulder to shoulder. The Union launched their offensive early. Dozens of transports. Orbital strikes. Ground units. But this time, the resistance was ready. Because of him. He'd given them routes. Weaknesses. Codes. Locations of stashed warheads. The Union never expected it. Their offensive turned to chaos. Serana led the charge, blade gleaming, eyes burning. At her side, Rion fired cover. Just like old times. Except this time, he lived. After the battle, he collapsed beside her, covered in dust and bruises. So, still hate me? She stared at the night sky. Yes. But I'd rather hate you alive than miss you dead. He laughed softly. I'll take that. She didn't reply. Just leaned her head against his shoulder, quiet for once. 6 days later, the Union threat was gone. Their fleet in the sector shattered. Their reinforcements too far to help. Peace wasn't promised. But hope had returned. Serana stood over a familiar grave, his first grave. Where she had buried him 7 years ago. She placed a flower on it. A Drexari morning bloom. Rest now, she whispered. Your death gave me purpose. But your life gave me peace. Behind her, Rion stood quietly. She turned to him. I still don't understand how you came back, she said. But I no longer care. He took her hand, scaled, scarred, deadly. And he kissed it. Neither do I, he said. As long as we don't waste it. And for the first time in years, she let herself believe in something other than war. Not because he'd returned. But because this time, they both survived.